What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video, we're going to be playing through the brand new treasure map Gear 4. So we're just going to be doing a regular playthrough of what I would just regularly do, going through the brand new treasure map. So first of all, there are a couple things I want to talk about before we actually get into the treasure map. Let's go ahead and have a look at the treasure rewards, because they actually have updated them for this specific treasure map. Now, we're not too sure if this is going to be a continuous thing, where the rewards are going to go up to this threshold, but for this specific treasure map, we have the actual rewards can go all the way up to 5 million. If you reach 5 million, you get 5 gems given to you, and there are a lot of other rewards along the way. So when you reach 1 million, where you get the 50 Luffys, there are all these rewards past 1 million points, all the way up to 5 million points. So if you reach to 5 million points, you're going to be getting a lot of good rewards, which is absolutely cool. I really like that they did that, increasing the threshold. You get more rewards along the way. Really good idea by Bandai. Also, unfortunately, the ranking rewards didn't get updated. I was really hoping that the ranking rewards were going to be updated, where there are more tablets given to each player, depending on their ranking, but they maintained it as the same at this current point. So top 100 only get like 3 or something. I believe it was 3. Yeah, they only get 3 tablets of each, which is pretty disappointing. So that's one part about this treasure map that I am a little bit disappointed in. Hopefully in the next treasure map they update the amount of tablets you get per ranking, because it's just really low at this point, and even if you are in those top spots, you just don't really get as many as you really should in comparison to the Japanese version of the game. So let's go ahead and run straight through this. Now currently I'm at navigation level 17, so it's it's going to be a lot more difficult along the way, and it's going to be a lot easier for a lot of you guys. But at navigation level 17, we are going to be running this. I've already personally maxed Gear 4. Gear 4 was completely rainbowed. We did a long stream last night, and we maxed Gear 4 within 5 runs. We were able to get 1 million points in 5 runs, which was absolutely fantastic. One thing to talk about this treasure map, though, there are no debuffs available in this treasure map. You can only land on point spots, chests, and positive buffs. The only positive buffs you can land on are universal attack and also on cooldown. There's also stamina refills as well, but that's only on one specific map of this treasure map. Now, some people are going to ask, which specific character should I be targeting in the mid-map in order to make sure that it's a little bit easier towards the end? Now, what I would suggest is I would try and target down Frankie and Zoro. Zoro in particular is the main one that you should be targeting down. He gets a lot of health very quickly, so if you target him, he's going to have less health and he's much easier to beat towards the end. Also, I just discussed Frankie. Frankie has a preemptive attack that chains units for 5 turns, and if you don't have a lot of units on your crew that can unbind your units, then that is going to be quite an issue. So having the ability to just lower his health is going to be very good. Now, for me personally, I don't have a problem with Frankie. I've got lots of units that can unbind my crew. I want to get the cooldown reduction so I don't have to stall as much. However, a good thing to do is when you are at higher thresholds of navigation level, or you get to a stage where you can't beat the bosses, then getting the 2x attack buff is going to be awesome. So the team that I am using against the mid-map bosses is the exact same team that I actually used against Gear 4 himself, and it is the 21.87 times team with a Rayleigh captain. So for these encounter stages, I'm just going to go ahead and speed through the content, and we'll be back once we've beaten it. And there we go. Very easy for this specific team. Rayleigh special just completely destroying all of Robin just with the special alone, so that's cool. But yeah, you can burst Frankie there, and that does help in some of the maps towards the higher navigation levels, where the Frankie will have a lot of health, and because he binds the units, it can be quite hard to do a lot of damage to him, considering there aren't that many good units to get like good matching orbs on a team against Frankie, because you want to try and make sure that you are fulfilling crew units in the other team, so it could be quite tricky. So I think Frankie is the better one to target. However, as I mentioned, depending on what type of crews you have, it doesn't matter too much at this current stage. Now, we are going to be targeting Zoro here. Zoro is definitely the one that you want to try and aim for a majority of the time. He does get a lot of health, and especially if you did not pull on the Doflamingo Sugar Fest, or you don't have Rare Recruit Sugar, you don't have access to the Rare Recruit Treble, those 2 units in particular help against Zoro significantly, and we'll be going through that once we actually reach the actual Zoro stage. Now, if you guys want to see a full breakdown of the teams that I discussed in the actual video, about the preparation, go ahead and check that video out. That was a really cool video. It had information about the stages and recommended teams, so make sure to check that out if you haven't done so already for more detailed descriptions. Let's go ahead and speed up, and we'll be right back. Okay, so now we've beaten Zoro. Extremely easy, once again. You know, the min-map bosses are always extremely easy to beat. So make sure when you are versing the min-map to make sure that you are running just a team of your highest point booster characters in order to get the most out of your runs. Make sure to do that. Hopefully we can get something good in these chests. So far this run, the chests have been absolutely terrible. I think so far, as I'm recording this video, I've dropped 5 tablets so far in navigation level 17. I actually have been demoted twice though, because of 2 very silly situations where I really shouldn't have been demoted, but I the first time I accidentally hit the wrong button and clicked give up instead of suspend, and the second time I accidentally run the double VV with no sub team against one of the mid-map teams. Couldn't win, and I died, unfortunately. But we're here now at the Battle Rush. So first of all, we're going to be challenging Frankie. The team that I use against Frankie is the 6+ Bartolomeo team, and as I mentioned, against Frankie, you need to have the units that unbind the units in your crew. So the units in my specific example are going to be limited recruit Kirby. If you don't know what he does, he will completely unbind any unit on your crew for no matter how many turns that they're on. And then you got recruit Pika from the Doflamingo batch, who will reduce bind and despair by 4 turns. So both of those units together means that no matter which unit that gets binded, we'll make sure to have all of our units unbinded. And with Pika, you can get a full board of G-Orbs, and then, you know, obviously Kobe's a type booster, Barto's a type and an orb booster, and we've got 2 health cuts in Pika's 20% health cut, and 5+ Zoro's 10% health cut as well. So I believe this team is like probably one of the most optimal teams to take on the Frankie dungeon for a long period of time. I don't know at what kind of period it's going to get to where you can't beat him. I guess you can always challenge him in the mid-map, and you really won't have an issue at that point. But then the other ones will be getting a lot more difficult as well. But I really enjoy using this team, you know, because, you know, 5+ Barto just came out, and he's very, very enjoyable to use. I haven't used Limited Rogue Kirby yet, so once again, he's also really fun to use as well. So now we've arrived at Frankie. Frankie, as we said, binds a unit for 5 turns. With Sockets, it goes down to 2 turns. Pika will go ahead and give us the G-Orbs, 20% health cut, unbind our crew. Let's just get this type and orb boost, and have a little bit of fun there with Kirby finishing that off. Easy. Very, very simple with this specific team. And if you don't have these units, 5+ Robin is going to be very useful for taking on Frankie, because 5+ Robin will go ahead and unbind your crew by, I think it's 3 turns. She reduces bind, despair, and paralysis. So having her on your crew is really useful, because you can use her to unbind whatever unit gets binded. If she gets binded, it's not too bad, because, you know, she's not that much of a powerful unit, but still, 5+ Robin is going to be useful against this specific fight. So now we're going to go on to the 5+ Robin fight. So against that, I am going to be using a 5+ Luffy team. This team isn't really a good team damage-wise, but it allows me to get a lot of points, because all of the 5+ Straw Hats are very significant point boosters. And Treasure Map Whitebeard is the most important unit to bring against the Robin dungeon. And you'll see why once we get to the final stage. So if you have Treasure Map Whitebeard, make sure to run him either as a sub or as a captain against this specific fight. Using 5+ Luffy though, he is very, very annoying, because the first 3 hits of the attack chain really don't do that much damage. So, you know, using Luffy isn't really that fun, but, you know, in order to get those points, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. You gotta do what you gotta do. And Frankie's actually an interesting unit too on this crew. Frankie, the 5+ Frankie, he actually does AoE damage, so you can use him to wave clear certain rooms. So we actually will go ahead and try that. Actually, we should we do that? Because I want to make sure that I do get enough turns of stall on my Whitebeard. So we're on stage 4 right now, so we'll actually wait 1 turn, and then we'll move on. 5+ Luffy also does AoE damage, so you can use him to do some wave clearing as well, which is quite good. We could have just tried to attack there, but then we'll use Luffy here. Move on to the next stage, and now we're at the boss stage. So this is why Whitebeard is so good, okay? So there's mob characters. We have Robin, who will go ahead and give herself a debuff protector and a barrier. So this barrier is a 1-hit shield that you need to hit with an int orb. So in order to break it, you need to hit with at least 1 int orb, then you can start dealing damage to her. However, with Whitebeard, because she has a barrier and a debuff protector, you'll actually get the mass boost from Whitebeard's special ability, Obviously, when you kill her in the mid-map, Whitebeard's going to absolutely decimate her. We actually dropped a rainbow chest there as well, hoping we can get a potion. Potions are honestly the best things to get right now. You get a lot of, you know, materials and stuff through just regular farming, so I really hope it's a potion. Hey, nice, that's awesome, getting a large potion. So Whitebeard is really great because she has the barrier and the Devil Protector. You get the 2.25 attack boost for Whitebeard. You get the 2x orb boost for your crew. He gives himself a matching orb, which means that he himself breaks the barrier and does a lot of damage to Robin. So make sure to run Treasure Map Whitebeard against Robin. Moving on now, we've got Usopp. So with Usopp, I'm using a slasher-based team. And with this specific team, it is very easy actually, because the thing about Usopp is he doesn't have any preemptive attack, but after every single turn, he changes your orbs into negative. And this is where Neo Colosseum Killer is very pivotal to actually beating Usopp. In the early stages of Usopp, you don't actually really need to worry about it too much. He's very weak and very easy to take down, so you don't really need to worry too much about the early stages of Usopp. But once it gets to the very difficult stages of Usopp in the high navigation levels, you're going to make sure that all your specials are ready to go. But this team has a lot of damage potential, and I really don't have any issues with this team in particular beating Usopp for a very long time. This team will beat Usopp for a very, very long time. But one thing about Usopp, do not get him below 50% because I believe he despairs both your captains for 10 turns. So make sure to not get him below 50%. That is definitely a bad time. And it's really fun here using the 5+ Brook. He's actually a delayer, so it's cool if you know, you don't want to take too much damage. You can actually delay the enemy. We've got 6+ Zoro in here as well. And the good thing about this team in particular is that it's actually a free-to-play team, aside from Zoro, where instead of Zoro, if you guys don't have him, you can run like a unit like, I don't know, another type booster, like, you know, Roku Koza, that old school Koza, or you can run, you know, 3HP Zoro, just depending on what you have in your character box. Now, typically, I don't need to do this at this current stage. It's still really early stages. He's very easy to beat. Wait one turn, he gives us a full board of negative, where we use Killer here to give us a full board of positive, because he changes Strength, Dex, and Quick into positive. We use our Mihawk to get the Orb and the Chain Lock. We use Zoro for the type boost, and, I mean, that's just overkill damage. There's so much damage to Usopp right there. Very, very easy with this particular team in order to beat Usopp. And now we move on to the second last boss. We've got Zoro coming up. So against Zoro is an interesting one because Zoro is actually the unit that you want to be running the whole Doflamingo batch against, essentially, because the way that his preemptives work, it definitely favors the new Doflamingo batch, and you'll see what I mean when we get to it. Now, the team that I am using is a double Treasure Map Cavendish team. Treasure Map Cavendish is really fun to use, although he is kind of tricky because you do have to hit 3 goods or better with 3 of the same colored character. So if you are running Treasure Map Cavendish, make sure you have 3 of one color on your crew, otherwise you cannot fulfill his high condition of getting 3.75 times attack to your driven characters. So make sure to go ahead and do that. Now with the cooldown buff, I actually don't need a stall here, which is great. All of my characters here are max skill, I believe. Yeah, they're all max skill. I max skilled my Treble and my Sugar with duplicate copies, and I fed some skill books to some of them to make sure that I can max them out. Makes it very easy to run through this dungeon when they're all max skill. You don't have to do any stalling along the way. Hopefully we can actually kill them without you know, having to take a turn, but we don't have that many good matching orbs here, which is not great, but we're still able to get past, which is great. So once we get to the Zoro stage, you're going to see exactly why the Driven Batch is definitely favored for this piece of content. Now, unfortunately, we got so many negative orbs there. That's really unfortunate. That is really unfortunate. You're going to see why the Driven Batch is amazing for this specific dungeon, okay? So, we move on to Zoro right now. So, Zoro's preemptive attack, we'll go ahead and give him a Rainbow Shield. He buffs his own attack, I think. He gives us Recovery, Tandem, and G-Orbs. And you can see he's got Delay Protector, he's got Attack Up, he's got the Rainbow Shield. We use Sugar here. Sugar changes Recovery, Tandem, and G-Orbs into positive orbs, so straight away, full board of orbs. Treble gives us a 2x attack boost and gets rid of the Rainbow Shield damage reduction. And we've got Sugar, I didn't mention that before. Sugar also is an orb booster. And yeah, very easily this team will do lots and lots of damage to Zoro for a very, very long time. So yeah, this team, very, very easy against it. However, if you don't have those units, Raid Kuma is also a great unit. He changes all those orbs except for the G orbs into positive. So that gives you that, and an orb boost as well. He's a red unit. And then to get rid of the rainbow shield, if you guys haven't checked my other video where I go through team prep, I talk about units in that video that are good against Zoro if you guys are really struggling against him. So now we've beaten all the bosses, we've unlocked the Gear 4 map, and as we mentioned before, the team that we are using is going to be the VV and Rayleigh team, so let's go ahead and prep up the team. Unfortunately, not a lot of people have sockets on their VV because, unfortunately, like the other treasure map rare recruit units, they all came with max sockets, and it's unfortunate that Urogan and VV didn't come with max sockets. It would have been a lot better if they did. Unfortunately, not the case, so it is a little bit more of an annoyance that you don't have as many sockets this time around. So this team in particular doesn't really do much damage actually to the mob stages. At least they do somewhat a little bit of damage because they do have a lot of stat boosts for being trusty characters, you know, like 2.5 times stats and stuff, which do actually add up and give you a lot of damage output. But regularly these units really don't do that much damage. And we don't really need to activate any specials until we get to the stage 4. So stage 4 is the unevolved version of the Gear 4 Luffy, and you'll see how this team actually functions. This functions very, very well. When we get to more higher treasure map levels, this team will change definitely because you are going to lack damage output a little bit later on. But that's fine. As of right now, this team is clearing it very, very easily, and I'm not seeing any signs of change currently. It's doing very, very well. So stage 4, we've got Luffy. He changes all your orbs into either empty or recovery orbs. And what will happen is when you actually kill off this Luffy, he will go ahead and deal death damage equal to his attack value. Now, you can actually calculate what his attack value is. I actually talked about that in the preparation video, so make sure to go ahead and check that out. But we've used the VV and we've used the Rogue Special. I used the Rogue Special first. That is actually very, very important to use the Rogue Special first to get the manipulation, and then use VV Special. Otherwise, VV will shuffle all your orbs, and then you won't get the full board with your Rogue Special. So use your Rogue first, then use VV, and you get the orb boost with the full board of orbs. Now we move on to the Gear 4 stage. So Gear 4 has a damage nullification shield. This shield that he puts up will negate every single piece of damage for one turn. So we're going to go ahead and use the delayer here with Robin. Delays them all for one turn, which gives us a free turn to not take any attacks, and then we can go ahead and wait for that shield to bypass. Now, if you use any healing special, like I use here with VV, what will happen is Gear 4 activates his special interrupt, which will cut our health by 80% and change all of our orbs into block orbs. This is where we use Rayleigh. Rayleigh will go ahead and do 200k fixed, which is fantastic, and he'll change all those orbs into positive. We get a damage reduction, you know, the orb manipulation, obviously, as we mentioned. He gets a 3 times chain lock. And then we're going to use our Gladius, who is a conditional booster. Because the enemies are delayed, we get a 1.5 times conditional boost. And easy as you like, we do lots and lots of damage. There we go. And drop in a gold chest, which is great. So that is basically what I've been doing in order to farm the treasure map Gear 4. So that's kind of it. Let's see what we get from the chest though. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video, and if you guys have enjoyed it, make sure to smack the like button down below. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.